Flosstube. My name is Becca, and I am SamBrie Stitches here on Flosstube and Instagram. This is another special edition of Interview with a Flosstuber. I am super excited because I'm here with a couple of very special and creative ladies. But first, before we do the introductions, we want to wish you all a happy Valentine's Day. You guys will be watching this on Valentine's Day. Get ready for some enabling. Have a pen and paper out because you're going to want to place some orders with these amazing ladies. So usually I do the introductions and all that, but I'm going to hand it off so that they can kind of introduce themselves, tell you about their businesses, and then we'll get into the questions after that. So I'm going to hand it off to you guys.
Well, I'm Katie.
And I'm Laura.
And we're from the Black Needle Society. And also Love You More Studio, which was actually our first business, which makes book sleeves. It started with book sleeves.
Yes.
And introduced a few other items here and there, but our main focus is still the sleeves.
And here's how these things work. I was homesick one day, and Katie was working from home at that point. She worked on a subscription book box. And she came into the living room where I was, and she said, "Hey, Mom, how would you like to make 150 book sleeves for our box? Because the lady who was supposed to do it just backed out."
Is that even high enough for you to say yes yet?
And I was like, well, as long as I get help, yeah, I'll make them. Yeah. And not another thought about it in the world. And then it was a crazy chain of events that led up to us getting this out. And at some point, the lady that Katie worked with said, "Hey, by the way, you need to have your shop up and items in it because we're going to list you as a vendor. So you have to have items for sale.
You have to have a presence."
Oh, wow. By the way.
It was kind of crazy. We had made book sleeves before because I had wanted to make them when I was living in Ohio. I just wanted to make them for myself, and I made them as gifts and things like that. Mom got really fascinated by it and had made herself a couple of them.
I have a Pete the Cat book sleeve.
And we have rainbow fish.
Yes. Rainbow fish, fabulous, but terrible thing to make in the beginning because of what I used on the inside.
Oh, okay.
But we ended up deciding that our original method of making the book sleeves was not going to be feasible moving forward. It needed to be much more streamlined and all of that. And we ended up, I don't know how we did it. We ended up putting it together and we got 150 out, and it was an interesting time, but we're so grateful for it. But also, Michelle Bendy found out about us, decided to start putting her patterns and projects in the book sleeves. And so then the
opened a whole other avenue.
Yeah, that's huge. That was huge.
Yeah, the cross stitch community started coming over, and then Mom's been almost a lifetime stitcher, and so and has been in love with it for forever. So we wanted to start making items for cross stitch, and then it seemed to be confusing the book people, and it confused the cross stitch people that everything was on this like weird mishmash website of Love You More Studio. And so we were like, okay, we need a separate cross stitch business, the Black Needle Society.
And I had always, since Katie had been doing the book box, and she did that before she moved home, I kept saying to her, I want to have a cross stitch box. And she
would pack the box here.
Yes.
And
I volunteered my family to pack their book box.
Nice.
Because they needed somebody right away. And I'm like, well, we could do that.
So we packed the book box here for about a year, but it was hilarious because inevitably we'd be packing and Mom would be like, I want this. I want this. I want this. It got to the point that I actually asked my boss, I was like, can Mom just have a box? She just really wants like most of the items in the boxes, and she let Mom have.
And her boss said,
"Nice.
Your mom can have anything she wants."
That's nice.
So book sleeves. This is what we're talking about. we have two sizes that we do currently. So we have a standard size, and you talk about what kind of books those hold.
Those will hold the shorter hardcovers up to about 300 pages is what we figured out when we first made them.
Not your Harry Potter.
No, Harry Potter will fit in your full size because it's a taller hardback. And we've actually had people fit books that have like 1,000 pages in there before.
And you can tell these are squishy. They have a material inside to make it protect your book or your stitching. If you watch Michelle, then yes, you hear. And in my Love You More Studio Code bag,
I just also real quick, because I pulled these samples. So this is actually our old label style.
Yes.
Which you may see on some if you order some of the older sleeves. And then our newer labels are just these simple.
Are at the top. Okay.
Yeah.
And we put those on the back of the sleeve. So it used to be on the front.
Yes.
And now we've put it on the back so that when you are taking pictures, you really have a backdrop.
Oh, I like that idea.
So that was the theory with that anyway. But I wanted a stitch box, and Katie said, well, what do you want? What do you want to do with your box? What do you want in it? And I'm like, I don't know. I want it to be different than everything that's out there. And I don't know what that means yet. And it took us a couple of years, and we talked and decided that some lifestyle items were really cool.
Which came of Mom and her sister actually hosted an in-person retreat, and I ended up helping on it. And when we were putting things together, a lot of the things that we wanted to give out at the retreat were lifestyle items.
Oh, nice.
And it's things
To
that you
supplement.
use to pamper yourself. Yeah. It's
Right.
because the idea is that you're retreating, you're pampering yourself, you know.
You're taking time for yourself. So you should be treated royally.
Yes.
And then when COVID hit last year, we had to cancel our first in-person retreat. And we said, okay, you guys, don't panic. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to box up all of your stuff, and we are going to all of your swag, and we're going to send it to you.
Yes.
Now, if you lived close enough to us, we hand delivered them.
Well, we ding dong dash.
Yes, we did. And they all knew we were coming.
We set a schedule. We put everybody on a route, and we said, this is when we'll be around your
and we
area.
would text them and say, we're
Socially distant. Got it. Yep.
Do not open the door.
And it was really funny because I would walk up to the door and people would be at the door like, hi.
That would be me.
It was
That would
so
probably
good.
have been us too.
I mean, everybody was just dying to get something. So, and we said, don't worry, we'll do our in-person retreat in November. Well, no, that didn't get to happen either. But we did do a virtual event for them.
And they were amazing to host that for, because they were totally willing to just go with us and try it out and see how it worked. And they basically let us use them as guinea pigs for that digital event.
And it's really a family business. Everything is really a family business. So much so that we sat down not too long before that first event, and my husband, Jeff, was in here, and I said, Jeff, we need a game. It needs to be something simple, something that we can do on, in the Facebook Live group, where they don't have to do a whole lot of interaction with us to make it work. And he said, bingo. We're like, of course.
That's cool, yeah.
Bingo was the highlight of that weekend.
Yeah.
But also during that weekend was born the stash dives.
And the digital dives. And most of the games that we have kept for the other retreats that we host too. But we've adapted them, and we have new games in mind for the 2021 retreats. And
we had so much fun with the first retreat that we decided we would do Frogwarts that way because we couldn't meet in person again.
Yep.
And quickly got all of that together. Katie was amazing pulling things together. And then we planned that retreat to within an inch of its life.
To the point where we were asking people to not change chat room colors because I had them color coded. So I knew my brain would know what.
Okay.
Yes.
Please don't confuse us. Yeah. But they were so funny because we had set up a lot of things because we had people all over the world and we wanted everybody to have times when they could participate. We asked our good friends in Australia, Felicity and Chloe, if they would be willing to host the chat rooms
when we were trying to sleep. Yeah.
They stayed up the whole time.
Oh, wow.
4.5 days. I mean, they caught cat naps.
I think they estimated that they slept like 6 to 8 hours total for 4 days.
So
Sleepers right there. There's no way I could do that.
Yes. And then there were so many people who participated in everything we put out. So yes, it was crazy. But we loved our retreat, and
we did.
We decided we would do.
I think it turned out to be more than the attendees expected.
Yes.
And it turned out to be more than we expected because we didn't expect the level of participation that we ended up getting. We didn't expect everybody to try and do all the events, but it was fun, and hopefully everybody has a really good time at this year's because it's going to be kind of a similar frenzy, I think.
Yes.
I'm sure they will. I think that it was probably a blessing during, the lockdown and the pandemic and everybody just enjoyed having something amazing and fun to do. So
and what we heard is a lot of people, like in Canada, wouldn't be able, even during normal circumstances, wouldn't have made the trip to Missouri for the retreat, but because it was digital, it's a platform that they can access and they don't have to have all of the travel fees on top of all of that. And it just, having it digitally has made it a much more accessible retreat and experience.
We took a poll toward the end of the retreat and made the decision and the announcement right at the end of the retreat that all 7 years will be digital retreats. They'll all be online.
Yes.
So, and they were so excited.
Yeah. And we've been asked if we'll have a physical format, like would we do physical and digital? And that's still kind of up in the air, but it will always definitely be digital at the very least.
I think that's really neat. It's so much easier for everybody that way. It is. Yeah.
So then we could tell that people were like, we need something before next year. And so we quickly put together a small box.
Not too quickly. We
used all US vendors.
Yeah, that was the thing, is that we, quickly but not quickly, because we checked with all of our vendors. I used my contacts. Wickwish is a company that comes up a lot in our boxes because she's somebody who I know and I trust really. I really, really trust that her quality is going to be high and she's going to be on time. And she's just been amazing to work with during all of this. And so she was one of the vendors I contacted, and I was like, hey, do you have supplies? Can you access supplies? Because that was the other thing.
Yep.
People had time to do things, but they couldn't get materials to do things.
And we had already spoken with Color and Cotton at Galleria in 2019.
Thank goodness.
Because we were going to be hosting retreats and we wanted to be able to contact her for things for our swag boxes. And
we had already talked to her about Retreat in a Box while we were there too.
Right.
So she already kind of knew that was a thing that we had on the back burner that we were going to be introducing toward like fall. And then we just kind of had to accelerate the release date of that.
Right.
So
planning ahead definitely helped, I'm sure.
Oh, yes.
And we have met some really amazing people already. And, it was really exciting to start January off this year with Kathy Haberman from Hands On Design.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That pattern was awesome.
And I don't know if everybody got it, but that's a waffle.
Yeah.
That's a waffle with her mattress finish. So
I love her video. She posted a video because we sent her a box and she unboxed it, and I love her explaining how we talked about her doing a vintage Valentine inspired design. And then I threw at her and a phrase that we really like is a waffle lot. huh.
And there you go. No,
Yeah.
it was such a, I need to get that stitched up really quick too. So that was a great pattern.
But we have had fabulous vendors that have really come through for us.
I have
already.
just embraced the idea that we're insane in putting this together, and they have just jumped on board with us, and we're really grateful for that.
And Katie is a fabulous planner. So generally our vendors know months and months and months in advance. And then Katie will tell them, I'm going to give you a final count when sales close, and that'll be on about this date. And then she takes care of it from there. And we've just had great response.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And if people check out like your Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff, which I'll link down below, they can see you guys are really good at keeping everybody up to date and like doing countdowns and all that kind of stuff of, you know, how long till this box comes out or when this sale ends and stuff like that. So
I had to put the Gilmore Girls one up a little sooner than I had planned because I'm
dying for that.
I was like,
are you going to show our box?
So I peeked this up earlier. So this was our January box, and our lighting is not the best in here. And it's the glare light. Yeah. There you go.
There you go.
Light on.
Yeah, you guys did amazing on the box design as well.
Thank you.
That's Katie. Okay, and show them inside the flap.
Okay. And because I like to include a little surprise.
There you go. I love it. Love it. Yeah.
And that is the box that we will use for our subscription boxes.
Yes. We have a very similar looking one for our special edition boxes. It's a little bit bigger though, and it's not this mailer format. It's actually a shipper. So it actually has two flaps that open on the top.
Oh, okay.
So that was a funny thing because Katie had bought these beautiful boxes for us to use for Advent.
And we even showed them off in one of our
and
Instagram
she's like,
lives.
oh, look, this is what we're going to use. And then one day she said, Mom.
And I demo packed it.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Said, Mom, you know, I think maybe once we get the mug box in there, that these boxes may not be big enough.
Because a couple of the items changed. Yeah, a couple of the items changed. And I was like, that might just put us just that much over. Because the mug box didn't fit to begin with. And then what things had to sit underneath it, and that just pushed it just far enough up that I wasn't comfortable shipping them.
So she had to order new boxes, and then it only took her like another day or two to say, you know, I'm not sure that everything's going to fit in the 12-day box either. And sure enough, she pulled it out, and it was just a little bit too small.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. So, you guys are probably like filled to the brim with boxes.
Oh my God.
The good news is that she plans so far out that we have time to check on things and
with the boxes. So when I demo pack the boxes at least twice. I demo pack it when we're planning, and I grab items that I think are similar in shape and size and stuff like that, and put it in what I, in like one of these to test it out. And then when the actual items come in, I start putting them one at a time inside of the box to make sure that we are getting them all.
She replaces her placeholder.
And then if the lid won't close, then I'm like, oh, we have a problem.
So I'm going to show you something funny. We sent out all of our date with your stitching boxes, and a day or so later, we got a box back, and we're like, what in the world? This one didn't have a label or anything else on it. This is our demo box that we use to practice with. And we had sent it, and it was full of all sorts of weird stuff. It was not taped.
It was not things anybody should get in their box because it was stuff from our home that I had demo packed.
Oh, geez.
Our post office knows us well enough that they wrote our address on the bottom and sent it back to us.
Yes.
Gosh.
And it's because we had stacked all of the boxes up, and somebody just grabbed it and didn't realize.
Yep. That's funny.
Yeah. It was good, but
wow.
That's kind of us in a nutshell.
Yeah, so much thought and preparation and planning is crazy. And speaking from my personal experience, the January box was the first box that I've received. from the Black Needle Society. And I'm very honored to be a rep, which is awesome too. But I had serious FOMO last year, missing out. So opening that box, everything in it is amazing. Down to just like the candle scents and just everything in it, and how you guys make sure that people want certain fabrics. Like you make sure that, you know, they get back to you with the fabric counts and stuff like that, because there are other boxes and other things where you sign up for and you don't get a choice. And like, I'm an Aida only stitcher, so if I get linen or even weave, that's a waste to me. So little details like that are amazing. They really mean a lot, at least to me, and I'm sure to everybody else too, just all those little details.
So the only time that you won't get a choice with your fabric is when we do something like our Advent box, where we fully kit it, well, where we mostly kit it, and we use what the designer called for, which this year happened to be a 40 count linen, a 28 count linen, and an 18 count Aida. And, you know, I think that probably everybody has enough friends that you could do trades.
Hopefully.
So, but that's like the only time, because we want to honor what the designer chose. We know everybody is really good at changing up what supplies they use.
Yeah,
part of the reason that we don't offer the fabric choices there to honor what the designer chose is because the fabrics take the dye differently. And so, I mean, we're lucky enough to live reasonably close to Picture This Plus. And we've seen the beautiful fabric table that she has all the fabric on.
So jealous.
We've seen, you know, 3 of the exact same color on 3 different fabrics, and it all looks so different from each other.
That is true.
And we just didn't want for, you know, a designer to call for something and have it be too light or too dark for the threads that they had called for. And
that makes sense. That does make sense.
At least if you get the fabric, even if you won't use it, you can use it for a color comparison and see what you like and what you don't like about it. And if you're a Flosstuber, you have something to give away.
Yes,
that is true. All good points. All good points.
The one more thing that we should really mention is that Katie and I require a Wrangler.
Yes.
And one day when Katie and I were on a trip to Picture This Plus, actually, we were headed home and something came up that we're like, and Katie
I think it was an email for our other company, Love You More. And it was like the same question I'd answered 99 times. And
okay.
The threshold.
And Katie said, you know what? I would pay Athena if she would be our customer service. And I'm like, wait. And I grab my phone and I'm texting, you know, I'm calling her. I got her on the phone and she's like, hello? And I said, you got to hear what Katie Landis just said. And I said, Katie Landis says she'll pay you if you'll do customer service. And she said, okay, well, what would that mean? And Katie explained what her expectations were, and
Mom chimed in too.
And we because Katie had the background with the boxes, it makes more sense for her to start off anyway. But Athena said, okay. And she's been on this adventure with us ever since. And
even before then.
Yes. She's somebody who will jump in and just help.
Yes. Nice. And that's honestly why we wanted her. Well, that's why I wanted her on the team to begin with. And I was like, because we dreamed, Mom's had a dream for a long time of having a cross stitch shop, like a physical shop.
I think we all do.
Yeah. And so, you know, occasionally we'd dream while driving, and we'd be like, and who do we want to work with us? And Athena attended our first retreat, the Show Me retreat, that the in-person got canceled and it moved to the digital format. And she would see questions or problems arise even before we did, and she would be on it and answering, and she wasn't even working for us with us at that point. She was just jumping in and helping, and consistently did that. And then she found out that we were doing Frogwarts, and she was really excited about that. And so she was like sending us ideas for things. And
in case you don't know, Athena is a great big old Harry Potter geek for sure.
Yes,
that's awesome.
And we say that with all the love.
Yes, because Katie is also very geeky, and I'm like, geeky adjacent.
Okay, that makes sense. That works.
I've read all the books,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
watched all the movies, all the stuff. So,
but Athena was doing that, and I was like, I want that person on my team. I want that person helping us out, and so I had her in the back of my mind. I'd kind of tossed her out when we were dream shop making in our heads, and
I wanted her on the shop making team because Athena is an amazing dyer.
Yes.
Oh wow!
So I wanted her to do dyeing classes, but in our imaginary shop, and so when it came time, I was like, I would do this.
Cool. That's neat. Yeah, and Athena just launched her own Flosstube as well, which is really exciting. So I'll make sure and put that down below too, so everybody can go support her as well. So
Goddess Designs,
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, if we want to kind of jump into the questions a little bit and get going on those, if anybody has any questions in regards to the Black Needle Society or Love You More Studio Co., I'll have all the links down below, and they can shoot you guys, an email or a message, or in the comment section underneath the video. But I think we got a lot of good information out. I think that hopefully we enabled quite a few people, and there'll be pictures that they've seen throughout the whole conversation. So hopefully we'll get some enabling going on. So but we're going to jump into the questions so we can get going on those. And the first one is, why did you start a Flosstube, and were there any particular motivations?
Okay, so I had my own Flosstube. I started off first with my sister, and we were the Addicted Stitchers. Gosh, I always have to think about it.
That's close, Sister Stitchers.
Yeah, and people were always mistaking, what our name was anyway. But we had our channel for a while, and then Nancy needed to take a step back, and so I was going to do it on my own, and then
did it on your own for a little bit.
Yeah, and then my friend Keisha was like, if you wanted somebody to be on your channel with you, I would do it. So
and they were like, oh, we'd have to rename the channel. What would the name be? I was like, just add an S to Queen.
So my channel now with Keisha is the Pattern Queens. So we are we are currently, she's a new mom, and so we are currently putting out a regular Flosstube on the 1st and 3rd, and if there's a 5th week of the month. And then we are putting out 2 Stitch With Us videos, and Keisha is coming up with tags. So we sit and stitch. You don't actually get to watch our stitching,
we don't have this set up. Yeah.
You get to listen to us talk about whatever tags she has come up with, and we go through and answer questions.
This last week it was pizza toppings for one of the questions.
Yeah. And so the reason that I got started is because one of my stitching friends said, oh my gosh, you and your sister, you need to have a Flosstube. And we just kind of jumped in after watching just a couple of them. I sent Nancy a couple of links and said, I think we could do this. And that was it.
So
and then
the business one started because we actually wanted the Black Needle Society to be really accessible for everybody to find information, to understand what we're doing, to understand what's in the boxes. And so I'm most comfortable in Instagram. I was part of the book community, and that's where most of the book community is on Instagram. And we take these elaborate photos of books. If you're ever curious, #Bookstagram.
It's artwork, and yeah. You'll have to ask Michelle Bendy about the intimidation of being a rep with all Bookstagram people, because it's a real thing.
Oh, wow.
So I started over there, and so I'm most comfortable with Instagram. And then Mom, I think it's fair to say, is more comfortable with Facebook. So she and Athena really tackle that Facebook group more. I pop in there and make announcements as needed. And then they kind of keep an eye on all the other things. And then YouTube, Flosstube was kind of the one social media that we were missing. And it made the most sense to started and to kind of take that leap into it, because that's where the community really gathers and learns about cross stitch. And you go on there and you kind of want to be enabled, and you're like, oh, where
exactly,
did that come from?
And we're able to do challenges and stitch alongs and fun things with people there.
And and I think the other benefit is, Instagram and Facebook, it's a lot more, info drop, and Flosstube, we get to be a little more in person. You get to know us a little bit more, you get to see us ramble and have too much coffee in our systems and all of that.
Yep. And not everybody, I've learned, not everybody has like Facebook or Instagram too. Some people just watch Flosstube. So you kind of hit all of the, social media sites that way. So so the next question was just a subscriber question, and they were just wondering if you have a blog of any sort.
We not really, kind of. Our website has a blog feature on it, but we use it for showing you items from past boxes. We do our unboxing photos there and a list of the items that were in the box. I need to update it. And then it also has a useful blog post on it that lists what boxes go on sale when, what are the themes, and when do they ship. And so that I put that up for 2020 boxes. So it starts with 2020, and then I listed the 2021 boxes there as well.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Nice. All right. The next question is, how did you learn to stitch, and how long have you been stitching?
Katie has a short answer. Yeah. I had a next door neighbor who was maybe a little scary to me as a child. And every summer she kept her granddaughter, and I could play with Betty all day long, but Miss Martin insisted every day that we either read or we could do embroidery. And I thought, well, I could still talk if I do embroidery. So ran home, my mom stamped her tea towels, sent me back off to Miss Martin's. Miss Martin had all the floss and the needles and everything. And she sat me down and started me on embroidery. And I've had a lot of people comment when they stitch with me in person about how neat my backs are.
It's ridiculous.
But it's a Miss Martin thing, because she was a taskmaster. And like I told you, I was like 6 or 7. So to a little kid, when she told me to do that, I did it.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot from her. And then I learned to do cross stitch just out of high school. One of my friends had a creative circle party, and I went to the party with them and ended up with a couple of pieces. So,
wow.
I think Mom, sent me the knowledge of how to cross stitch when she was still, growing me in her womb. I don't remember a time that I wasn't taken to a cross stitch shop growing up. I grew up at the old mill, and
Katie liked to go, and she liked to go with me wherever I was going. It didn't really matter. Cross stitch shops are full of beautiful colors and lots of things to look at for little kids. And my children were.
I was taught to be respectful, to not touch things, and so I was allowed in the cross stitch shops.
And the people loved her, gave her free things. She has been given more cross stitch in her life than anybody I know.
Oh, wow.
But I have a Bent Creek bag that I think Mom occasionally is like, because I was adorable and blonde, and they gave me because they were encouraging the next generation of stitchers.
I think stitching shops love to see kids in there for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she, so Katie found a book that had bears in it and decided she was going to do that. And we bought her some Ada. And it was big enough holes that we gave her 6 strands.
That's the part that's
floss.
Yeah.
And she hated it. I mean, it was, and I'm like,
it's like this big.
Yeah.
It took me, it felt like months. I don't know. It might've been quicker, but to a little kid, it feels like you spent months, years, decades on this thing.
I really wanted her to stop, but there is no quit in my girl. And after she got through that, it took a little while. And then she saw this freebie from
Lizzie I don't think it was a freebie because you have to pay for it now. But it's Lizzie Kate Ghoul's Night Out. They may have given me the pattern.
Maybe it was a special at the shop. Yeah. Oh yeah, it could be the little blonde girl.
But I think this is pretty.
But her free pattern ended up costing me a fortune. And we bought 10 count Tula. This is my tip for anybody wanting to teach kids. 10 count Tula, Lizzie Kate, especially if you like Halloween, although the Christmas things are equally as cute. And pearl cotton, because you can use a bigger, fatter needle. So one strand of pearl cotton goes through. It makes it perfect, and they come out so cute. Katie may have some in this box down by her.
Unless you let your little darling figure out how to do these specialty fibers by herself. And there's a mummy wrapped in it. There's this huge traveling tail behind part of the piece that goes from the top of the mummy down to the bottom of the mummy.
Eventually I went, and I left it. I was not about to change it. Eventually, I think I did go in and tack them down just so we wouldn't have them snag or lose them. No, they're still loose.
No, because she's brought them out within the last year and shown, because it's just one of those things that it's funny now, and you just can't change it because it's just funny.
And the front looks great. But it has Hill Treasures. It has
Rainbow
Gallery stuff. I mean, it has everything. And Picture This Plus, 10 count Tula.
I don't think it was Picture This Plus at that point, because it's just blue.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay. But later on, Picture This Plus. And it's right when Weeks Dye Works started dyeing
pearls,
over dyeing their pearls.
Okay. Yeah.
So then we got into that.
Yeah, well, at least you have good memories, though. Like, you have that piece to look back upon and have a story to go with it and that kind of thing. Yeah, so I love hearing stories like that, where, I don't know. And you still have the piece. That's kind of neat, too, because I don't think I have my first cross-stitch piece, so.
I think the bear is somewhere hanging up to my...
I thought you gave it to a friend.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
It's probably somewhere. So the next question is kind of one of my favorites, and it's, what is your favorite project that you've stitched so far?
That is like the hardest question for me because I've been stitching for so long. And I mean, like, I can look around my room right now and I'm like, I don't know if I really have like my favorites, but I pulled out a couple pieces just to share that.
Because you can't ever choose one when you ask her this.
I'm sorry, it's me.
No. It makes sense. It's like choosing, like, your favorite child or your favorite pet or something like that.
Excuse me.
So this is from the work basket, and it's called Faith, Hope, and Love.
Oh, wow.
And I can't even tell you what this fabric is anymore. I thought, here it is. It's mocha, 35 count mocha. Probably I had not done that kind of a count when I did this, because I did this in 2011.
That is so pretty.
But I love this, and it was so fun. And I just chose an overdyed floss that I loved, and just went with it. And I love how they put this pattern together.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Thank you. And then the other one, Nancy and I decided to stitch Blackbird Designs Quaker Garden at the same time, except that we didn't do it on the colors that it's designed in.
Oh, wow.
So mine is purple. Here, let's come back and you can see.
I was gonna say.
But then up close, you can see kind of what the pattern is. And unfortunately, this is out of print. I don't know if they will ever put these out.
They're slowly but surely reprinting a lot of their patterns.
Yeah, they are.
But my LNS at the time, I was there for a Sunday event, and right towards the end, we had been there all afternoon, had our little lunch, gotten our projects, had such a good time. And right at the end, one of the owners came in and she said, "Oh, ladies, would you like to see these projects that this new designer is doing? They're quilt designers. And this will be their first market. And we just wanted to know if you guys wanted to see what they have." We're like, well, sure, because what stitcher doesn't want to see?
Yeah, of course.
The new designer. It was Blackbird Designs.
Oh my gosh.
And they live close to us, and
we run into them at
yes.
the local cross stitch shop.
No way.
And they recognize us, and so we get to chat with them. And
except masks have made it a little harder.
Yeah.
But it's fun. So I really have a soft spot in my heart for Blackbird designs because they are lovely.
Oh, they're
ladies.
so nice. The in-person retreat that we held in 2019.
We ran into
Barb?
Barb at the cross stitch shop and invited her and said, you can just come and stitch and hang out with us. You probably never get to do that. And she goes, oh, well, if I can, I'll stop by. Alma can't because she's going to be out of town. But so Barb shows up and proceeds to give a little talk to all the ladies and spend quite a bit of time walking around, and people are fishing out patterns and getting her to sign.
Yep.
It was great. She gave, I mean, they're just lovely.
Yes.
Oh, that's so great to hear because they're actually, I've been just trying to buy all the Blackbird patterns, because that's the law from like Brenda and Laura say so. But I love them. I've never been a sampler person for the years that I've stitched, and the past couple of years I've fallen in love. And so it's so good to hear, about the designers behind it, that they're good people and that's awesome.
You're awesome.
Alma used to come to our cross stitch night when the LNS was still open. They've since closed, and that was fun to have her there. But
that'd be neat.
They did the Loose Feathers Club, and I had all of the patterns from the beginning.
Yeah. So I live with her. So
yeah, I'm jealous.
So this is my
that
favorite.
one's pretty.
So this is actually Blackbird.
Yep.
And it's Moon Garden. And it is not stitched in the called for colors or on the called for fabric because this is actually a orphan from from PTP. It's my first orphan that I got from her. And
Back when she named them, yeah.
And it's named Ron.
I love it.
Yeah. So and then I went through and stole silks from Mom. So this is stitched in silk. It might be a silk cotton hybrid actually, but yeah, I think I know I used gum nut stars in here.
Very pretty colors, very pretty.
But I love it. I feel like it glows like a moon garden should, and yeah,
it does. It's very beautiful, very beautiful. So what do you enjoy most about stitching?
I am a process stitcher. That's what I have decided. I don't know how many people have checked out my whip parade for this year, but I have.
It's 4 videos long.
I have over 140 whips.
Woo!
And when I went through them, there were only one that I was, maybe 2 that I was going to cull out of there. I just like the process of stitching. It's relaxing. It's my peaceful time. I have stitched, a friend challenged us, I think it's 3 Christmases ago now, maybe 4, to stitch every day for 100 days and gave us a gumball printout. And I've stitched every day since then.
Wow.
So.
And I thought about this question. I like,
are you a process or a product?
Well, I don't know if I'm either, actually. I am a progress. I think I'm going to name that. I am a progress stitcher. I really enjoy color completing.
Okay.
I like setting goals and meeting them. That's of the actual stitching, that's what I like most. But what I really enjoy right now is the community of it, because we actually have a Friday night chat group that we do digitally.
Oh, neat. Okay.
And so I'll sit and I'll work on a piece that has like horrible big blocks of like one color, and it doesn't bother me because I'm sitting and I'm talking to these lovely people, and it's not even necessarily always about cross stitch, but we'll sit and talk to each other, and then if it goes quiet, it's fine because everybody's just stitching. We're not just staring at each other on a screen.
We know that's when we're all counting.
Yes.
Yep. I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I host Zoom meetups like every other week, and there's times where it goes kind of silent, and people are counting, or we're just together, but we're still just stitching.
Yes.
Nothing needs to be said, which is kind of nice too. So
that's something we're doing with the Black Needle. Also, we're doing it on Facebook because that's where it had been easiest for us. But
except, so we host a meetup once a month, except we now have over 1,000 members in the group, and we figured out that has triggered something within Facebook, and it won't let us host the rooms in a group that has over 1,000 people in it.
Which is the whole reason that we really liked Facebook, because there's a tab at the top that says rooms, and you click it and you join the room.
Now that won't affect any of the retreats, because
no,
I'm sorry, we're not going to have 1,000 people at any of the retreats, because
999, but not 1,000.
Yeah, that's the cap.
One person is going to be left out, and so sad. Yeah.
So yeah, so we'll be fine with the retreats that we have planned, but yeah, the group, it's gonna be interesting. I put in a help ticket to Facebook.
Yeah, just to see what's going on. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't even notice anything like that. But we're gonna get out of stitching a little bit and kind of learn a little bit more about both of you. The next question is, what's your favorite genre of book or movie?
I like mystery books.
And I do too. I actually was gonna say that. But I also am I like young adult books, because I worked for a young adult book box.
Mm-hmm.
And so Mom is actually kind of the one who got me back into the young adult.
I also read whatever Katie says I should read. But nice. I worked as a paraprofessional, and I was working at middle school. And when my child hit that age, not Katie, my other child hit that age, I said, hey, there are Truman Award books, which is in the state of Missouri, and they're for your grade level. And there's a competition between all of our middle schools to see who will read the most. So you're going to read those, and I will read them also, so that, we have something to read. Now, my kiddo never finished the list, not because of a lack of trying, but because once she would complete one book, she would have to read every other book in that series.
That makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. And she read way more than what was on the list.
Yeah.
So, and we even, she's not into sports, and there's always a book on the list that's something sports related.
They really do a good job of mixing up genres.
Yeah.
And I said, you can get through that book. It's short. And I pulled it out and I started reading it to her, just as, I said, just come sit and I'll read it to you. Then you don't have to read it. And my husband came in and sat down, and then the book started traveling with us every time we got in the car.
That's so cool.
And it was fun. We read together.
But then I was living in Ohio at this point, and I knew that they were both reading the same book because they would talk about it. I was like, well, this book sounds interesting, and that book sounds interesting too. And so then I ended up reading from the same list, and Mom and I are a little competitive with each other sometimes. So it would be competition to see who could read either the most books from the list, or who could read them the fastest.
Oh, wow.
And it was also who could read the most books in a year. And we would talk to each other most mornings, and we'd be like, I finished another one.
But of course, I would be reading like 3 books at once. Yeah. And so, I would say, well, I finished 3 over the weekend. And she's like,
I had to leave by 2, and you just took it.
Dang. That's so neat. So you basically just all read together for your whole lives. That's so neat. That's really.
And we like a lot of the same, we like a lot of Austen movies. We like.
Well, obviously, because we're doing a Jane Austen book.
Yeah. And we are huge Gilmore fans from the beginning.
Yep. Me too. Me too. Cannot wait for that box. Can't wait. So speaking of books or movies, what fictional place would you most like to go to?
Stars Hollow.
Yes, that was mine also. La la
Right
la.
there with you.
I thought about
la.
Hogwarts. I thought about Hogwarts, but I was like, I don't really want to go back to school. So I was like, where would I want to go to relax? And I was like, the Dragonfly Inn. And I would eat Suki's amazing food.
Yes.
And hopefully have conversation with Lorelai, although she'd probably be busy running the inn. But then I
go check out Sores and Boils Alley and
the cat shop.
yeah.
I think those are like the most popular answers is either Harry Potter or Stars Hollow for the two answers for sure. But I just love the fact of it being just a small town. I love it where you just everybody knows everybody, you know, they're always there to help, talk to, hang out with. I love it so much. It's one of the best. So if you could choose to do anything for a day, what would it be?
I don't know if I have an answer for this one.
We don't stop.
We don't, and that's the problem is I don't sit still. I don't know the last time that I've watched a movie without like also having a laptop and doing something at the same time. Yeah.
Okay, so here's the funny thing. We'll give you insider secrets here.
Okay.
Katie and I recently made a trip, just a day trip where we were going to take a day and enjoy ourselves.
Okay.
And Katie said, hey, if you drive and I bring my laptop, iPad, whichever one she was bringing, then we could clean up the boxes. We could finish planning the boxes. So we were in the car for a total of about
3 hours.
Three to 4 hours.
Yeah.
And we ended up planning boxes clear
up to Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
And just really nitpicky, fine tune.
Yeah.
Really laying them out because we always have lots of ideas.
And those get written down on the document, on the side of the document, and then it's a matter of narrowing it down. You know, what is this going to be made out of? Who do we want to work with? What artist? What vendor? Who do we want to make this item for us?
And Katie's kind enough that she knows I'm a visual learner, so she draws me pictures of what the box will look like.
Nice.
You guys would all enjoy that. It's pretty funny.
Sounds like a good team. Well, it sounds like if you could do anything for a day is just spending time together and kind of planning or talking or just hanging out basically.
Yeah, I think, and if we were separated, one of my favorite things is if it's a cloudy day, I like to go back to my room, sit in my bed, pile all my blankets on myself, grab my cat and cuddle and open a book and read.
And I would probably sit and stitch. Now, the other thing that we really, really like to do together is cruise.
Yes.
So
that's probably not happening for a very long time.
Maybe not this year, hopefully next year, but yeah. I've never been on a cruise. Maybe someday.
Maybe we'll plan one of those.
That would be cool. A cruise retreat. I know. I think there's another Flosstube group that does that, or Sunshine Stitchers. Yeah, but I think that would be a lot of fun. You could do one of your boxes, like a cruise themed box on the cruise. There we go. That sounds fun.
I just got ideas for us. Pencil her in.
And now I'm going, I have ideas at the back of my head, but I can't say them while we're filming.
Yeah, true.
And just so you know, we are already into 2022 with planning. Yes. And in some cases out into 2023 with thoughts and ideas. So
that's impressive. It just shows how much work you guys put into this. And that's awesome. It's very exciting too.
We have so many ideas and so little time to actually realize ideas fully. I mean, we have a lot of time, but we can only put out so many boxes within a year before we just go, I'm dead now.
And before everybody out in the community says, that's too much at once. So
yeah.
And like we may have an idea for a box. And when we start planning it, we realize that instead of having a box, we move and we have a focus. And so we take the other part that we were thinking about and it moves to another year.
Yeah.
So
nice.
that's why Gilmore became 4 boxes. There's too much to get in.
But that's still exciting. Something to look forward to for everybody too. That's the neat thing.
We've talked and we're like, we're not even sure 4 years is enough to get everything in there that we want to. But yeah, we'll sticking
see
with
how
4
it goes.
We'll stick with the core 4 and then we'll see.
At least we know that there's more to come, basically, is what it is. Something to look forward to. So that's cool. So we've probably alluded to this many times throughout this whole interview, but do you have any other hobbies besides cross stitch? We're just going off the list here.
I used to do a lot more reading before we had 2 businesses, and then something had to give. And for me, my reading had to give a little bit. And I have been making myself spend about 15 to 20 minutes every day reading, which is something I really enjoy. But hobby-wise, I used to do scrapbooking. I haven't done that for a while. I am playing with a happy planner, so that gets me a little more back into that.
So reading is a hobby, but also Instagramming is a hobby, like bookstagramming, because I said it's elaborate photos. And I started as a bookstagrammer and was a rep for the book box before I actually started working there.
Katie used to spend at least one day every weekend taking her photos for the next week.
Yes.
And sometimes with some extra ones thrown in that she could just use as backups. And she would plan all of her posts and everything.
Yes. I started bookstagramming when there wasn't like an overflow of people starting in it. So I'm not one of like the originals or anything, but I was in there pretty early. So I've seen it grow. I've seen all the new people come in, and it's become its own beast of a thing. There's photoshopping, there's reels now on Instagram that all of the bookstagrammers are doing. And it's been so interesting to see everybody kind of grow with the platform.
That's neat. I love that there's different communities for everybody's hobbies. I didn't even know Flosstube was a thing, for the longest time. So, and I didn't even know there's BookTube. I learned in one of the interviews, there's BookTube, but I'm like, what?
I made her watch one.
We make them crazy because we talk at a normal speed
and don't edit.
And we don't edit out all the pauses. Yes. And if you ever watch theirs, they all talk like they're auctioneers,
Wow. Yeah, I've not watched one, but I've learned that like there's just all these different communities out there for hobbies and crafts and all that. And it's so neat. It really is.
Yes. Diamond painting. I haven't tried it, but I've picked up that there's like a whole community for that.
Yep, there is. Yep. I'll be diamond painting soon. I have a really cool one coming, so I'm excited.
Oh, cool.
So let's move on to the next question. This is a fun one. It's how would your friends describe you?
Hopefully positively. I don't know. Chaotic, and I don't know.
I think my friends would describe me as quirky.
Yeah.
And outgoing and talkative. I'm a hostess, and I know I have a lot of introverted friends because they all say that I take care of them and introduce them to everybody.
Met a stranger. No. I am actually the opposite, though. I am kind of more of an introvert.
That's why she likes to go with me.
Yeah.
Balance each other out very well.
But
we feed off each other for sure.
Yeah.
I think creative is something that I hear a lot. And I'm very, I don't know if I would say driven or focused. I don't know. I have a plan and I follow it, and
driven and focused. Yeah.
I like my plans, but I'm also not like I'm not like an A-type personality either. I'm kind of a weird mixture. I don't know. I'm me.
That is good. You be you. Yep, for sure. No.
Inside out. Madeline, I used to think there was a theme song, and she said, and inside I'm
big.
Big.
You know, I'm big. I'm big.
But she used French, so to me it sounded like beef.
That's
So Katie thought
it made sense.
so she's walking along one day and inside I'm beef.
I love all these like childhood stories. I love them. I love them. You're gonna look back on this.
Tell.
Yeah. Occasionally when I don't know what she's starting to say, that's when I'm looking at her like
Like, where are you going with this one? Oh, that's awesome. So we're gonna get back into stitching a little bit, and this is how do you prefer to stitch? Do you use a hoop, a Q-snap, a frame, that kind of stuff?
You want me to start?
Yeah.
I used to, okay, when I started, I stitched in a hoop. And I was a very vigorous stitcher. And so you could see all the holes. And I was told, oh, I should stitch in hand because it would help me practice with my tension and I would do better. So I did that for years and years and years and years. And in the last few years, I've been, just really in the last couple of years, I've been unhappy with my stitching. And I felt like it was looking kind of sloppy and messy. And my friend Keisha that I film with uses a hoop or a Q-snap, mostly a hoop. And I thought, well, you know what? I've got some hoops laying around here. I'm just going to try it. Well, yeah, I have some kind of wicked arthritis.
Oh, okay.
And I just can't, like I have no pincher grasp. And I will drop things. I can't get things open. So to put it back in a hoop means that I don't have to hold the fabric so close. I can move things around. I can still put my hand behind my fabric and I can stitch. So she has become a hoop junkie.
We get up to the register and they're ringing things in. I'm like, that's another hoop, isn't it? Sneaks them in there.
But I like the Morgan hoops.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The other hoops you have to pinch and turn.
Yep.
Yeah. So the Morgan hoops have the wing nuts and you can,
they're easier.
What I call a wing nut anyway.
Yep.
And yes, and they're easier to do.
Yep.
And I am a self-proclaimed linen snob. That doesn't mean I don't appreciate other things. That means that's what I want to stitch on. However, I love a good piece of 10 count Tula every once in a while and because it's fun, and pearl cotton.
And
it is. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun. If I could always stitch in silk, I probably would, but my pocketbook doesn't afford
that. Silk's a little spendy. Although I'm getting hooked on it, so.
Oh yeah.
Well, she taught me, so I stitch in hand.
Okay.
Actually, the bear from HE double hockey sticks. He was in a hoop, and I think that also was part of the reason I didn't enjoy stitching on him, was because I didn't like the, pushing it up and then having to move my hand up every single time and then pull up, put it down, and then move my hand underneath and pull it down.
Yeah.
I was impatient and didn't want to have to go through all of that. And so when I did the Lizzie Kate piece, I was able to stitch in hand. And
which 10 count Tula, it should be in something. It is loosey goosey.
But I was able to stitch in hand and do the sewing method.
Quicker process,
yeah, a lot faster, a lot more rewarding. Seeing the progress faster. And
I would like to try a lap stand, but I haven't gotten one yet to try. And they're a little spendy to buy one to try out. So.
Yeah, I found a Kay's Creation lap stand on Etsy that holds my Q-snap. It has a Q-snap attachment, and because I have arthritis, and like I get really bad sharp arm pains because of I stitch so much holding the Q-snap, and so that has become just my go-to. It's amazing. And it, you can two-hand stitch at that point. And it wasn't too spendy. Like it was on sale on Etsy. So if you look on there, you can find some for kind of a decent price. That's not too bad, but
I actually was going through my phone today, and I was in the bathroom of a cross stitch shop, and they had a bulletin board up in the bathroom with all of these different things. And I was going through my phone today and I found I had taken pictures of this wood company who is making lap stands, and I took pictures for Mom to give to her.
Oh, nice. Looking out for mom.
I was, yeah.
Yeah. So I know this is probably not within the past year or so, but do you have a favorite place that you've traveled, and did you guys bring stitching along when you went?
Alaska.
That was pretty fun.
Oh, that's my dream.
And we did that. It was really fun. It was over in July. So 3 of us have July birthdays, and my husband is the oddball. And so we did it in July. It was to celebrate July a couple of years ago. It was to celebrate our 30th anniversary. And so I worked a part-time job at that time because we didn't have any of our businesses.
And I was
I worked
in
a
Ohio.
full-time and a part-time job.
Yeah.
And with my part-time job, I paid to upgrade us to a family suite on the cruise. And it was fabulous. We had a lot of perks with it. And
Nice.
and I found the one and only cross stitch shop. And it's really a quilt shop, and it's in Ketchikan. And
Because Laura Landis will find you a cross stitch shop.
Yes.
and yeah, we have things from the shop.
Well, Mom does, because at that point I wasn't cross stitching.
oh yeah.
I was very much reading, and I actually from that cruise found a new favorite author that I was reading his book at that point because it was an advanced reader copy. And
Oh, nice.
yeah.
But yes, I stitched the whole time. So
Nice. I love asking questions like this because it makes you think about, where you were and what piece you were working on, and just the memories that are attached to it. And I want to go to Alaska someday so bad. So bad. We're thinking of maybe someday living there. So we'll see.
We want to go back. It was beautiful.
yes.
Just watching the shows on TV of, people that are moving to Alaska. We watched, I can't remember what the name is, but we watched that, and it's just like a dream. So that would be an amazing experience. So what can you not do without for your stitching? Like your go-to must-have besides, the needle, fabric, and thread.
I have to have my needle threader. And I like my scissors to be to have a fob attached.
Well, project bag.
Yeah, project bags, which I still need to learn to make for myself.
And I am a Flossaway bag stitcher. So is Mom.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
I'm a Flossaway bag stitcher because she taught me.
We each also have a go bag. We
Yes.
call it our go bag, and it just has like what you would need to start a project.
Yes. So that's what I was like thinking, what's in my go bag? I always also like to have a 3-inch square because
Yep.
and I like it Mom gave me one that she got from a shop that has, it's 3 inches and then it has little holes about 1/2 inch in.
I think it has the
2.5
and the 2.5.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. And so that I love because I don't have to try and measure one direction and then turn and measure the other direction and
Right.
my place. And yeah.
I love my needle minders for sure. And I love the needle minders that Katie has come up with and that we've made and that we've had made. A 2-inch square tip for you is that your thumb will usually, if you start at the corner and measure in, that's about 2 inches.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
So that's I'm somewhere and I don't have anything. And I mean, if you look at it, you're pretty close.
Yeah. That
so
does make
put your
sense.
thumb on there from the corner diagonally. And then you measure you go just a little past it, which you would kind of naturally do anyway.
Nice. I like the idea of a go bag for sure. That's kind of neat just to have something to grab that has all your basics that you use in it.
You don't need to worry about not having a needle when you go somewhere.
Yep.
Yes.
That is true. That is true. That's neat. Everybody should have a go bag now.
That's
That's another thing you should put together. Go bags to add. So this is kind of a fun one, and it's how do you decide on what you're going to work on next?
You talk because whew,
Well, for me, I just got back into stitching after about a 10-year break. I stitched mostly through my sophomore year of college. And then junior year, I got too busy. I couldn't do it. I also ran into the problem where I twisted my ankle my sophomore year and spent about a month in bed stitching because I had done all the work that the teachers had given me in like a week and I had nothing to do. And so I sat in bed.
That's part of that driven thing, you know.
Yeah. I sat in bed and I had free time, which was unheard of in college. And I stitched and I realized all my patterns had alphabets. Every single pattern that I liked, not that they didn't have patterns out there without alphabets. It's that every single pattern that I chose to buy had an alphabet on it. So I was like, I know my ABCs. I've done them for a month. and so then I got busy and I took a hiatus. And when I moved back here, Mom was stitching and she was like, don't you want to keep doing it? Don't you want to get back into stitching? Don't you want to do it? And eventually I went to the Show Me retreat with her and
to be the Love You More rep.
Yes. And I saw what people were working on. I was like, oh, that's kind of fun. Somebody was doing Nolite te bastardas carborundum from Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, wow.
I hit a button. And, that was fun. It was very different than things that had been around when I was stitching, a decade prior.
Yep.
And then I went with Mom to Galleria and went into hands-on design shop. I think she was with somebody else too, and I can't remember who.
I don't think she's who was with Tracy from Ink Circles.
But it was her and somebody else together. But I bought a couple of hands-on. I think I may have actually met Kathy and I didn't know it.
Oh, wow.
Because I remember I bought the pattern. I bought the Boo pattern, the jar collaboration with
the chalk.
Yeah.
With Priscilla, yeah.
Yeah. So I bought that pattern and I bought one other and there was some tape and we were walking back past the shop later and I think it was Kathy outside. She was like, hey, I saw you bought this. We actually have the tape in here too. And it's been really hard to get in case you want it. It's like, no, it's okay. I don't even know if I'm going to stitch it. And
only
really,
Katie.
And it's really just because I hadn't stitched yet,
right.
But it was like, if I'm gonna stitch, this will be the pattern. And that was actually the first pattern that I stitched and finished back to stitching on black fabric.
Mm-hmm.
But
impressive.
It's a long-winded way to say that.
How do you choose a project?
Yeah, how do you choose a project? I just choose what makes me happy at the moment.
Yep.
So I like to stitch in the season or, in the month, whatever. And most of the time what I'm stitching is a reflection of what's going on. I like to stitch Christmas during Christmas. I have enough pieces now that are finished and up that I can trade things out for different seasons.
Nice.
And so I feel like I can stitch, like I don't have to stitch Christmas in July unless I just want to. Or in April, I don't have to start on those pieces then.
She was going crazy for Americana this summer. She was like, I want to stitch Americana.
And then I didn't have time to do it. Because we were doing other things, I didn't have time to do it. So that made me nuts. But I do like that. And this
somebody
year,
may have gotten her the Frogwarts pattern a little late.
Yeah. So, yeah. Every place we went, I was like, I'm stitching this in the car.
The mirror.
I lost my train of thought. So this year I'm doing Whipco.
Okay.
And I can tell that may make me a little crazy because somebody's telling me what to stitch again.
Yep.
And I get a little defiant and don't want to do it. I
understand. I tried the wheels and trying to do a rotation where I'm going to work on this and this. And I don't like to be told what to do. Right there. I totally get it.
Not even by yourself, because Mom and I, 10 years ago, would choose projects that we wanted to stitch on during that year, and we would start them all on New Year's Day. Well, then I would be like, but I don't want to stitch on this now that it's started. I don't want to stitch on this now as part of a plan. That's no fun.
Yep, that makes sense.
That's part of the why I have so many whips.
Yeah.
The starting is a lot of fun. Kidding and starting. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I love Halloween. So a lot of the times if you catch me stitching, it's Halloween.
We don't like to start projects.
Oh, okay.
But we're more, what's the word right now? Swee-wee. Stitch what you want when you want.
I like that. Swee-wee. Yeah, swee-wee. That's really neat. I love that.
And I feel like that kind of fits me a lot. I did do magical stitches during the Harry Potter year. And oh my gosh, I made so much progress.
She made progress on my pieces too.
Yeah. Nice.
She was like, hey, you haven't pulled this Cinderella out in a while. You mind if I put some stitches in? Because it has a castle and it fits my challenge.
Yeah, because I don't have things like that. So.
Oh, that's neat. So you can get work done on your projects and not even touch them. That's cool.
Exactly.
All right, so we are down to the last question. This is my favorite. I leave it for the end. Because we're about a month into 2021, it can be 2020 or 2021, I don't care. But it's what's the best thing that has happened to you so far this year?
You go. She thinks on her feet.
That's something that I should have answered for. What would your friends say about you? I think on my feet.
You're a quick thinker.
I think that within the last year, the best thing that's happened is that we have expanded our family business, and we have been so blessed to be embraced by the cross stitch community. And we didn't even talk about the fun of coming up with the name of the Black Needle Society. And that's a fun, silly story. And that's more in the car. If you put Katie and I in a car, something will happen. If
you take away the toys and all the distractions and just put our brains together, then
it's a good brainstorming area.
And our name actually came, we won't go into the big long story, but our name actually was inspired by Gail Carriger, who is an author, and she writes a series that she writes multiple series that we've both enjoyed. Yeah. But there's one called Finishing School, and it's a period piece, but it's finishing school where the girls are learning to be young ladies, but it's also finishing school.
Oh, okay.
And it has werewolves and vampires and all sorts of things too. So it's fun, but they're just fun things in it that we really liked. So
yes. And the names are part of what we loved, and that's part of how the Black Needle Society came. That is one of the characters is named Bumbersnoot.
How cool.
He's a toy.
He's a mechanical dog.
Yes,
mechanical is what they call them.
So what's your favorite thing that's happened this year?
Oh my gosh.
We're not going there politically, so
no. Yeah. I wasn't thinking about that. Really, I think it's, not to be like totally business driven, but it's affected our personal lives too. And it's just been a blessing. I
feel like our family has pulled together to make our businesses both work and be successful, and it's just been good. And to have Athena in our lives, and her family jumped in and packed the Advent box with us.
Her husband was hilarious. He wasn't even going to pack, and then he was just like watching us. He was like, "No, do that. No, do that. No, do that." He jumped into the packing process.
That's neat.
I think that
we've made so many friends because of this. So it's a huge blessing.
Yeah, like Mom already had a small community of people that she had met locally and through Addicted Sisters, Flosstube, and then we've just been discovering so many new people and new friends through the Black Needle Society, through those stitching events that we've had, like the free
Mhm.
retreat weekend, and then the monthly stitching evening that we do. People will just come in and join us and have a good time, and it's a lot of fun to get to meet new people.
That's neat. We're very fortunate to have you guys, you know,
Thank you.
starting this whole, you know, Black Needle Society and Love You More Studio Co. I think the whole community is so happy, and everybody wants your boxes now. So it's gonna get harder to get them. But I think it's really neat. I'm so happy for you guys, and I think it's also really neat that it's a family business, and I think that's what you guys have really driven, you know, through the whole interview. It's a family business, and there's just so much love and creativity and passion behind it. So yeah,
That's why if something gets missed in your box, that's why that happens, because we're real people putting together a box.
Stuff happens.
The goal is to never miss an entire item from an entire round of packing.
Yeah, we generally know that if we miss one item, we probably have missed however many are in that one, because we'll set out, sorry honey,
you're fine,
a row of boxes. So, you know, if there are 4 boxes out, well, then we probably missed that item all 4 times in that round. So then we're like counting, okay, who's the next one? Who else did we miss?
And then we get an email and we're like, darn it, that means that their opening experience wasn't perfect.
Yes.
It's still amazing, even if one item is missing. They're amazing boxes. I can't wait to get more. Honestly, I can't, just from my personal point of view. So
I'll tell you, the worst part about it is keeping the secrets.
Oh, and waiting for you guys to get all the good stuff.
I bet. Yeah. That drive me crazy.
In fact, I will say that 2 of our friends who we are night owls. And so during our Friday night chats, we have a couple of friends who'll stay up really late with us. And that's when I get worn down and I can't stand it anymore. And I'm like, you guys want to see what I have done on the frogwarts pattern?
One of the ladies is not even a frogwarts person. She's not a Harry Potter person. She can appreciate the work in it. She knows what it is.
Her daughter likes,
but it's
Harry Potter.
Just not her.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's always nice to be able. Just share it. At least that gets you lift the burden a little bit, and you know that they're trustworthy and they're not going to go tell anybody. So
they are a fabulous group because they let us say, okay, we know that you guys have either gotten the box, you've watched the openings, whatever. We need some help, some feedback, and they're really great about what they like and what they don't like, as well as everything else.
We've been receiving a lot of this question, is this something that we need to make clear? Is this something we need to address? Is this, what are your expectations for this box? Have we not made that clear? And they're really, really understanding and patient with us.
And we try not to monopolize the whole evening.
We really try.
Well, it's nice to have like your own little sounding board or your own little like test group type of people, but they're friends. Yeah.
Well, and we ask our rep group, obviously, different questions. Yeah. But
and I can't stand it in there either. So you guys know who the designers are coming up already.
That is true.
But we also don't want to ruin your whole experience with, part of you guys opening the boxes. Is that you get to see things for the first time. So, we talked to the other group after the fact, and I'm sure we'll start a discussion with the rep group before very long here, since I think everyone has gotten it now. It made me think of something when you were talking, though, that we should point out that not every box will have fabric.
Yes, that's one of the questions that we've gotten. Do
you store my preferences?
All right, what was it? It was something about, can I change my fabric preference for the frogwarts box? The frogwarts box as of now does not have fabric in it, as it's been planned, because we understand why there could be the expectation, because we planned last year's box to have the fabric look like a letter from Hogwarts. That's why we worked with Marilyn to get that specific color and cut of fabric, and why we packaged it that way is we wanted something to represent a letter from Hogwarts in the box. And then I ended up actually, using that fabric for the pattern. But that was actually after we had already chosen that as an item.
It was the very fluid thing to end up there. And hey, just one more quick thing with that. Because I saw Stephanie from Cade's Crafts talk about getting the fabric, and she liked the wax seal so much. You can take that wax seal off. I would say cover it with Mod Podge, or even, some sort of craft glue to kind of seal it, put a magnet on it, and you've got a needle minder.
Other people have done that too with
That's cool.
With our Love You More packaging. We do wax seals on our Love You More packaging.
Yeah.
And I've shown Mom that somebody has taken it and tagged us, and they're like, it's my new needle minder.
I love the crafting community. That's so cool.
I mean, that's such a fun thing. And we change up our wax seals with Love You More periodically. It's whatever Jeff feels like using. Really.
Or the group that we've been like, no, now you need to be switching over to Halloween, because this is when you're ordering the Halloween.
Because we bought 6 different stamps, and so you should use them all.
And they're pretty.
For sure. For sure. Got to do that. All right. Well, that is a lot of information that we've got out to everybody. So hopefully that answered a lot of people's questions. But yeah, this was an amazing interview. We learned a lot more about you guys, but we also learned about your business. And hopefully we'll get the word out there. And I mean, selfishly, I don't want to make your boxes any more popular because it makes it a little more difficult to get, but we do want to help you out.
We are trying very hard to limit the number of boxes with a cap on them.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is understandable.
Yeah. To begin with, I don't think I quite expected it to take off like it did. And so I was like telling vendors, oh yeah, maybe like 100, maybe we'll hit that.
Yeah.
And then I had people angry because the box sales had to close because we hit the cap. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I've already ordered items and I don't have any more of them.
Yeah. A lot of places will put a limit on it. It's understandable. Yeah. That's kind of the thing with doing the specialty boxes and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I think at this point we've already closed sales on the one more box with
a cap.
With a cap.
We're working very hard to make sure that the nice list doesn't have a cap. That might change, but as of now, we've been telling vendors some pretty high numbers to potentially expect, to see if they would be able to meet that, and we're trying very hard to make it accessible for everybody.
Make everybody happy.
Yes.
Yep.
We want everybody to have a magical Christmas season.
Yep, definitely. So. Well, that's a good way to end it. Just for everybody to have a magical year with all of these boxes. All of these boxes. So,
what does it say inside that box?
Yeah.
Well, thank you both so much for taking time out of your day to do this interview and kind of get the word out about everything. This was a lot of fun, a lot of laughs too, which was a blast. So yeah, and I hope everybody has a happy Valentine's Day, and that you enjoyed the interview. And we'll see everybody later. Bye, Flosstube.